Shorty wanna blow me, then bro me. She told me that I gotta keep it low key. Somebody got a cuff like the police. That's why she always acting like the homie. Shorty wanna blow me, then bro me. She told me that I gotta keep it low key. Somebody got a cuff like the police. So she come around acting like the homie.
Never take life for granted. Shit real. I got issues for what I've been through, but then again, if I give you my all, it's genuine. You ain't never lived a life if you never took a loss. If I die tonight, everything I ever own, you can take it all. Put my pain in this music until the song hurting. Ever gave your heart to the wrong person? If I love you, just keep it tall with me. And in return, you get rewards from me. 5-star dinners, shopping sprees and long trips. Booked a short stay with your bae in the A and gave a long...
This hot fuck, trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rapper.
Okay, hip hop. How did it start? Was it blacks? Was it Puerto Ricans? Who was it?
I'm going to say it was a culture thing. Whoever was in the Bronx at that time, whoever was at that party, you know, that Kool Herc said, you know, when we were talking before, like, you know, you said Kool Herc was Jamaican, you know. Crazy Legs, I think, is Spanish, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's just a mixture of just whoever lived in the Bronx, in that one area of the Bronx, and that's...
How do you feel about those conversations, though? You ever like, well, we put out the first record, so it was really us.
When I say it, I feel my father and uncle never really got their due. But that was because that was their personality. They like to be under the radar. But now it's like, I have a son who works with me. And he's actually running a marathon in West Palm Beach actually this weekend. Wow. And he sends me a picture of my dad and Aretha Franklin. And I'm like, where the fuck did this, like, what's going on in this picture? Because I really thought there was beef. And there probably was, maybe. I don't know, between Millie Jackson and Aretha Franklin.
Right.
Because Millie and my dad and uncle feel they got robbed in the Grammys in 1974. So I'm up all night, you know, my dad passed, so my mom's 98. I have nobody to call to find out, like, what the fuck is this picture about? So I posted it this morning. I was like, if anybody knows, like,
if anyone can give me the backstory on this picture, like, wow.
So,
were those stories that you heard in the household? Like, yo, they beat us at the Grammys, man. We'll get them next year.
Nah, so in my household, you weren't allowed to talk in the house. If you were going to talk, you had to talk outside.
What part of the game is that? What?
Yeah, but what's the science?
Scared because they knew too many people that the house was bugged, this, that, or whatever. So, like, we would talk like, oh, how's school? Like, we were kids, but if any real conversation.
What were those outside conversations like?
I was a kid. So, I mean, the one conversation that he had with, I was older now. I'm living in LA and I come to New York for, this is how I started Loud. I come to New York for my cousin's wedding. And there was an agency called the Famous Artists Agency, which was at that time the premier booking agency for all hip hop acts. And it was a spin-off of a company called the Norby Walters Agency. So Jerry Aid was Norby's partner, and then when Norby, I guess, retired, Jerry bought, and they changed it. And he said, you should have a label. I'm like, I don't want a label. Like, I'm 25, 26 years old. I'm making 6 figures, and I have the marketing company, and I have the street team, and like I'm working in those days pretty much every hip hop record, and everybody that I know, I'm throwing over to Famous, and I'm seeing type of finder's fee. So I'm like, I'm a basketball junkie, right? So I would be in the office at 7, leave at 3, go to Park, California, the weather's, play ball 3 to 5, eat dinner, shower, go back to the office, send out my daily reports, and call it a night. So I thought I was rich,
Right.
So I'm staying at Rich Isaacson's house, and it's during the summer, and Rich ended up, my childhood best friend, ended up being my partner in Loud. And my dad calls. Oh, Jerry wanted to introduce me to an attorney. I was like, I know he's my dad's attorney. I know him. He goes, just please do me a favor. So I go there, and I was like, his name was Paul Marshall. I was like, Paul, I'm cool. I don't want a label. I saw what my father went through. This, the walking outside, taking the phone off the hook at night. There's just shit that, I didn't want to see. So, or deal with.
So you, in your opinion, did you feel like your dad had a hard experience having a label?
No, I don't think he had a hard experience. Because if you met my dad, everybody loved my dad. I say I used to get a pass in every city, this, that, or whatever, but I got that from him. No matter where, it's like, I'm blessed to have a father, that I truly idolize. And not only my father, my uncle, and my grandfather. So,
looking at the picture.
The picture
you posted.
Yeah. I could not look at that.
So he calls me, he goes, I need to talk to you. All right, so I'll meet you in this, where do you want to meet tomorrow? He goes, no, you're coming now. And I'm like, Dad, it's 9 o'clock at night. I'm watching the fucking draft, the NBA draft, right? He goes, get over here now. I'm like, you want me to take a train, right? He goes, yeah. And I think it was the first anxiety attack that I ever had. It was either I was getting arrested or he was getting arrested. Right? That was really what was going through my head.
Right.
And he's not even at the train station picking me up.
Damn.
I have to take a cab to the house. And I get there at 10 to the house. I remember 10:45. Don't forget there was no digital. Everything was at that time, 10:2, 5:2,
Right.
And he goes, well, let's take a walk. And I'm convinced somebody's going to jail. And he goes, you're a fucking idiot. And I look at him. I'm like, what do I do now? He goes, I taught you better than this. And I'm like, what did I do? He goes, you don't want a record label? I was like, no. He goes, why? I said, Dad, I make around $200,000 a year. I'm 25 years old. I do my job. I go play basketball for 2 hours. And I go home, I eat, I shower, I go back, I send my daily reports, and I have a schedule. Right? When Grandpa called me down to Florida at 18 years old, he says, you're going to end up dead or in jail. I changed my life around. What, do you want, he goes, well, let me explain why you're an idiot. He goes, with your Stephen Rifkind company, you're only as good as your last client. So I was like, okay, that makes some type of sense. With a record company, you own something. You're selling records in your sleep. And you have something to sell. And he explained about the multiple. And in those days, it went with your marketing company, you'll get 3 times your earnings.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, this is now 1980. No, this is 1990, 91. And this was 91, summer of 91. And with the record company, you'll get 5 times. So every dollar is worth $5, you say. And you have something that you own. And if you have a bad year, hopefully your catalog
Carry you through.
carry it through. I said, Dad, you know what? You're right. He goes, all right, well, we have a meeting with Paul tomorrow at 2:00. I'm like, all right, great, no problem. I said, can you take me to the train station? He goes, no, you're sleeping here because I don't trust you that you'll show up. So I spent the night, drove into the city, and that's how Loud started.
So it's your father that's really responsible for Loud Records.
Wow.
No, I'm responsible for it because I was promoting every hip hop record out. Like in those days, it was Tone Loc, Young MC, Brand Nubian, Leaders of the New School, Boogie Down Productions. Well, Scott died, yeah, but it was KR. I had everybody. So he just explained the business of business to me.
How did you choose the name?
So when I got back to LA, I told my staff we're starting a label. And I had a meeting with a guy by the name of Rifkind, who to this day is probably the most powerful man in music, right? And Irving had a label called Giant Records. And if you remember, Hank Shockley had a label called Soul Records, Sound of Urban Listeners. And I loved it. And he had this one group called Young Black Teenagers, which were a bunch of white kids.
Oh, how did that happen?
Chuck D, Hank Shockley, they put a bunch of names on the board and had groups come in and audition for those names. One of them up there was Leaders of the New School.
Wow. Wow.
So a guy by the name of Faye Duvernay, who was one of my promotion guys, said, if we're gonna be with Giant, we should be loud. And he came immediately, listens to Urban Dialect. And that's how we got the name.
That's crazy. Who came up with the logo?
To this day, I have no idea.
Nobody knows. They look like the original Beats by Dre.
So, it's funny that you said that.
Philly, BEATZ.
Y'all hearing what I'm hearing. You know what I'm saying? Take a lot for a nigga to get inspired, man. So much bullshit out the tape, man. So much bubble gum. You know what I'm saying? I be having to get the urge to get in this bitch, man. You know sometimes you gotta let that thing ride, man. You know what I mean? Niggas be rushing this shit. It's like waking up sluggish from a long night after they go to the gym. And I still get it there, get the reps. Yeah. Let's get it. Rolling woods in my neck of the keeper, Eckler, and my ethic is catch a move. You kill the editor, bully the bullies, prey on the predator, smoke that premium. Niggas ain't regular, get it and whipping and flipping, accelerator. Lecture sliding through in the Tesla, handle the rock like the professor. Felt the pressure for the lesser, everything coming together. So relentless, more endeavors, hustling more than ever. Better get yours together, fucking them whores together. Catching you and your boys together. Good connection with God, put you and the Lord together. Heaven gates, nigga.